Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on irregular past tense, and we are basically finishing off today the last lesson of the chapter on irregular past tense. All right, and before we start with our lesson, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with your username as well as our password, all right, so we are going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 3, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of irregular past tense. All right, so remember we said that we are finishing off our um the last lessons of the chapter on irregular past tense, and so far we have done where we identified the irregular past tense and also we formed and used irregular past tense set 1, 2, and 3. And today the lessons that we're focusing on is to form and use irregular past tense set 4 and 5, and then we're finishing off this chapter today. All right, so our chapter is irregular past tense. Our subject is English language arts. Grade 3, and the lessons that we are focusing on is to form and use irregular past tense, and that is going to be set 4 as well as set 5. And once again, this is now the last lessons of the chapter irregular past tense. All right. So most of our verbs, right, they are regular in the past tense. And when we say they are regular in the past tense, it means that they are following certain rules. And when they follow certain rules, and it means that if we change a specific word to the past tense, then it's either we add an ed or we add a d to the verb, depending on if the word either ends with an e or if it doesn't end with an e, for example, right? So if the verb ends with an E, like for example, dance, and then in the past tense, we'll say danced. So we just add a D. But if the word does not end with an E, like for example, jump, and in the past tense of jump is jumped, and then we add an ED. But basically, that is a rule that they follow where you either add ED or you add a D to get the past tense form of the verb. But we are doing irregular past tense, right? So some of the verbs, they are irregular in the past tense. And this means that you don't have to follow any rules. Instead, you're just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb. For example, like there's no rules, there's no adding D, no adding ED. You're just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb. Meaning, if you try to, for example, in an irregular past tense, try and get the past tense of a specific word, you're just going to have to remember the form of the verb, the spelling of the verb. And an example of that is Alex bought a gift. Alex bought a gift. All right. And an example is where we say Alex bought a gift. Bought. And the, let's say the present tense, right, of that word bought is to buy. So which means that the present tense form is to buy. So for example, Alex bought a gift, and bought is the irregular past tense form of buy. Meaning that in the present tense, Alex buy a gift, and in the past, Alex bought a gift. So you see how the word basically changes from buy to bought, right? So from buy to bought. And when you look at the word buy and bought, right? Buy being the present tense form, and the past tense form of that word buy is bought, right? All right. So there's basically no rule that you need to follow. You're just gonna have to know the past tense form. You're just gonna have to know the spelling of the word, right? Buy to bought. Buy being the present tense, something that you're doing now, and in the past, Alex bought a gift. And if we look at a few words of the irregular past tense verbs, we say that some past tense verbs are irregular and the spelling changes. So the spelling changes so we don't just add ed or we add d, right? Because it's now not regular, it's irregular. And if we look at a few of these examples, right, of irregular past tense verbs, there's the present tense verb, well, it's a yeah as well as the past tense verb. So we will see how the word basically changes, and that is why we say that there's no rules that you need to follow where you just add d or ed, but it's like the wording changes, right? The spelling changes. So you're just gonna have to remember the spelling, you're gonna remember the words, especially when it changes to the past tense. All right. So we have words like do. Do is now. It's like I do the dishes, or yeah, I do the dishes. And in the past, we either have does or we have did. So we either have does or we have did. And the past tense, for example, is fly, or let's say the present tense is fly, and the past tense is flew. And that is why I'm saying that you're going to have to remember the form because the word or the spelling changes. Win. If you win something now, in the past you won something. Go to the shop. And yesterday I went to the shop. So went is the past tense verb. Give. The past tense is gave. Or how do you mean? What does give mean? Give and gave. Give is the present tense and gave is the past tense form of the verb. And then we have, for example, know and knew. I make something. Now, in the past, I made something. Then we have grow and grew, blow and blew. I dig something now, I dug something. Write and wrote. So that is an example of irregular past tense. So here we also have a few, and we say, for example, go. I go to the shop. In the past tense, I went to the shop. He, I give him a slice of bread. He gave me a packet of chips, for example, packet of crisps. Then we have think and thought, have and had, drink and drank, and so on. Right? So these are but a few examples of the irregular past tense, and of course there are thousands of irregular past tense. But the most important thing to know is that there is no rules that you need to follow, right? You're just gonna have to remember the form, and you need to also remember that the spelling changes when you go from the present tense to the past tense form. All right, do we understand? Any questions about irregular past tense? All right, so we see that the lessons that we are focusing on is to form and use irregular past tense set 4 as well as set 5. So we are going to the chapter of irregular past tense, and we're going into the lesson of to form and use irregular past tense. All right. So we need to complete the sentence with the verb which is in the past tense. It says her team did a great job. Do we say that she think her team did a great job, or she thought her team did a great job? So do we say she think her team did a great job, or she thought her team did a great job? And if we we use the word with the complete irregular past tense, we would say she thought her team did a great job. So we would say that she thought her team did a great job, which means that the word thought is the past tense of think. So she thought. And thought, and the the present tense of thought is think. Who these beautiful cherries? So we need to find the past tense of the word buy. We need to find the past tense of the word buy. When you go to the shop and you buy something. And the past tense of buy is who bought these beautiful cherries. And then number three is we need to complete the sentence with the verb in the past. Kenny three fish but didn't catch any. So we need to find the present tense of this word is catch. Can he catch three fish? But I didn't catch any. And the past tense of catch is caught. And that is the irregular past tense of those specific words. And as you can see, no rules were followed. You're just going to have to remember the form. And the spelling also changes. All right, so now we're going to the test. And before we go into the test, does everybody understand irregular past tense before we move on? All right, so now we're going to the test. So we need to complete the sentence with the verb that's in the past tense. It says, Mr. Wagner. Do we say, Mr. Wagner teach us about the river near our town? Or Mr. Wagner taught us about the river near our town? So, Mr. Wagner, teach us about the river near our town. Or Mr. Wagner taught us about the river near our town. And if we complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense, then we say Mr. Wagner taught. And taught is correct. Brenner, like the present tense, right? Brenner catch the bird and put it safely in the cage. But in the past tense, what is the past tense of the word catch? Do we say Brenner catch the birds and put it safely in the cage? Or Brenner caught the bird and put it safely into the cage? All right. So if we choose the verb in the past tense and we say Brenna caught the bird and put it safely in the cage. So caught being the past tense of that verb, or the past tense verb. Nina, do we say Nina brings soup to her sick friend? Or do we say Nina brought soup to her sick friend? So Nina brings soup to the sick friend, or is Nina brought? All right, so we say Nina. Do we say Nina brings soup to her sick friend, or Nina brought soup to her sick friend? And in the past, we will say Nina bought or brought soup to her sick friend. And brought is correct. All right, so now we're going to the next one where we form and use irregular past tense. So we need to complete the sentence also with the irregular past tense. We at the table outside. Do we say we eat at the table outside? Or we ate at the table outside? So do we say we eat at the table outside, or we ate at the table outside? And in the past tense, we can say we ate at the table outside. And then Lucy and Seth, do we say eat or ate lunch together? Do we say they eat lunch together or they ate lunch together? This is in the past tense. So we can then say this is they eat together. And then they meet. When they meet, they shook hands. But in the past, when they shook hands. And in the past, we say when they met, they shook hands. But in the present tense, when they meet, they shook hands. All right, so now we're going to our test, right? Where we are going to form and use a regular past tense. And we need to complete the sentence once again with the verb within the past tense. So Tana and I, do we say Tana and I meet at the library to do our homework, or Tana and I met at the library to do our homework? For Tan and I meet at the library or Tan and I met at the library. This is the irregular past tense. All right. So we will then say Tan and I met at the library to do our homework. And met is correct. So well done. Met is correct. And then Monica, do we say Monica wear red shoes to match a red purse? Or Monica wore red shoes to match her red purse? We need to find the regular past tense. All right, so now we'll say Monica in the past tense wore red shoes to match her red purse. And wore is correct. And after the game, do we say I eat or I ate a big meal with my team? Yeah, we say eat or ate. And if we choose the correct form of word in the past tense, then we can say after the game, I ate. And after the game, in the past, I ate a big meal with my team. And ate is correct. And then we say do we say I shoot the ball into the basket or I shot the ball into the basket? So do we say I shoot the ball into the basket or I shot the ball into the basket? Past tense. All right. Do I shoot the ball into the basket or I shot the ball into the basket? Remember it's in the past tense. Shoot is now. It's something that is happening now, but in the past tense. All right. So we then say I shot the ball into the basket because shot is the past tense of the word shoot. So well done. All right, so now we're going back to the whiteboard. And we're going to match the irregular verb with its correct past tense. All right. So here on the left hand side, we have the present tense forms, and in the past tense, we have the past tense forms. And we need to match the present tense form with the past tense form, right? All right. So we have rise now. In the present tense and in the past tense, I rose. Think. What is the past tense of think? All right. So think and the past tense of think. So I think about it. And in the past, I can say, I thought about it. Right? So thought is there. Do. What is the past tense of do? The past tense of do. The past tense of do. And the past tense of do is did. So yes, well done. Did is correct. The past tense of make. What is the past tense of make? I make something. The past tense of make. All right. And the past tense of make is is made. The past tense of sleep. Let's do this one more and then we're going on to the other one. Sleep. The past tense of sleep. All right. So we have our present tense in the one side And with the present tense form, right? It it's words such as rise, think, do, make, sleep, and so on. And then we have the past tense, which is the irregular past tense form. And like we said, you're just gonna have to remember what the word is and how it changes, right? All right. So sleep and the past tense of sleep is slept. So well done. Slept is correct. And we say sleep and slept, right? All right. And then we say go and went, hang and hung, ran and run, or ran and ran, write and wrote, and see and saw. All right. So well done, grade threes. All right. So this is now the end of our lesson on irregular past tense. We said with the past tense, the word changes from the present tense to the past tense. And when the word changes from the present tense to the past tense, and then the word changes. And that is why we say there's a difference between regular past tense and irregular past tense. Because in the regular past tense, it's you either just add a D or you add an ED, right? It's more let's say easier. But then with the irregular past tense, the whole word changes, right? So in order for you to find the past tense form of the word, you're gonna have to remember it on your own. All right, so thank you very much, grade threes, for joining our class and for interacting. And you should have a good weekend further. Goodbye.